Hi there, welcome to sunny North Wales for the next Campbell Coaching Top Tips on mountain bike riding. And today we're going to look at, night riding, so going out at night with your mountain bike with a group of friends, and look at some of the equipment. If you're new into mountain biking and you fancy giving night riding a go, this will be really useful for you. If you've been doing it for a bit, there might be a couple of little pointers that you find useful in it, so have a watch and see how we get on. Night riding's got loads of benefits. Obviously it's darker in the winter months, you haven't got as much time to get out on your bike, so if you do have the ability to go out in the evening with a set of lights, then that's fantastic. You can increase your riding time. You're going to be fitter in the spring because you've been riding more. Also from a skills point of view, we'll look at in a bit, but actually if you're riding at night, it actually helps your skills for next summer as well. It's going to make you do some really good things, which is going to be quite useful. And obviously it's just nice to get out. You drove to work in the dark this morning. It's going to be dark when you drive home again tonight. Getting out on the bike with a couple of mates and just having a blast is really nice stress reliever over those winter months. Before we look at the bike specific light stuff, let's just have a quick chat about gear you should be taking out if you're going out night riding. So we'll have a look at that now. Nothing special I need to do in terms of carrying gear, but I think the big thing is being a little bit more prepared. At night it's dark, rummage around in a car park or in the boot of your car or trail side trying to find something can turn into a real epic and mean you lose loads of gear as well. So I've learned from experience to kind of be a little bit more organised and keep everything close together, and know where it is in the bag is going to be super useful. I'm going to use this Osprey Escapist bag. It's got 2 compartments, really like using these. We've been testing this out for the guys and they're working really well. And I'm going to pack the bag in order of my ability to need things. So things I'm not going to need very often are going to go down the bottom, and stuff I need obviously quite often is going to go up at the top. First thing that's going to go in, bivvy bag just in case, you never know. Might have a little bit of an epic out there tonight. First aid kit's going to drop in the bottom as well. And then zip up the bottom compartment, that's out of the way. That's kind of my emergency stuff should things start going really wrong. And then in the main compartment of the bag, first thing I'm going to drop in is some spare clothing. I think really important at night, carry some spare clothing, warm stuff. Little things like punctures, broken chains, little trailside issues that aren't a drama during the day are going to take 2 or 3 times longer at night, and we're all going to be stood around getting colder and wetter. So definitely having some spare clothing, a spare pair of gloves, spare woolen hat. I've got spare thicker thermal top in there, and that's pretty much ready to go. That's going to go in there in a waterproof bag as well, so it doesn't get wet. And then next thing, my outer layer, my waterproofs. I've got my waterproof bottoms. They're going to go in. I'm going to start off wearing shorts tonight because I ride fairly warm anyway, so I'm not too worried. And then my waterproof jacket, although the forecast for tonight is kind of windy and rain, so I'm probably going to end up wearing that, but I'll put it in the bag for now, and at least I know where it is. Zip all that up. Biggest difference I think from night riding is carrying my tools. Instead of carrying them in all the separate compartments in the bag, I've got all my tools in one mesh bag with some cable ties and some duct tape, and what I'm going to do with them is they're just going to go in the mesh bag together and then go in the bag, which means if I have that puncture or trailside maintenance issue I need to deal with at night, then I just need to take this out of my bag, close my bag up so I don't lose anything else, and I can work from this little bag, put everything back in again, and you're just not going to lose as much kit. So that's going to go in there, along with my pump, which is already in the main compartment of the bag. I'm going to carry my waterproof case with my phone in it. That's going to go in there as well, so in the top section of the bag. Some snacks as well, so a couple of bars, one in the top, one in the side pocket so I can get to it while I'm riding. And that's pretty much it in terms of gear. I've got some juice obviously in my hydration system, but nothing really that I wouldn't carry on a normal day out. Maybe some more warmer clothing I guess, night wise. In terms of my own riding gear, I'm going to layer up as normal, thin layer of thermals. If you ride and you normally get quite cold, then another thicker layer, and then maybe that waterproof outlet layer if it's raining. Might want to invest in some winter gloves, are really useful, but it's up to you, kind of decide what you want to do. A couple of other things I'm going to carry. I am going to carry a head torch. That's not for riding in, that's for just being able to mess around at night, look in my bag, sort things out. If someone has a drama with lights, at least we've got a spare light unit with us. So I'm going to carry that in the side pocket. And something else I wouldn't carry during the day, I'm going to carry a red LED backlight for my bike. Where we're going tonight, there's lots of roads and stuff locally that we weren't planning to ride on, but should we need to, because the weather's closed in or we need to go back or someone's batteries start running flat on their lights, we can use the road as a bit of an escape route and get back. Obviously, legal requirement, you've got a white light at the front, which we'll have with our bike lights, but obviously a red light at the back is going to make life a little bit easier as well. So I'm going to drop that in the bag just so I know I've got it. And that's pretty much it gear-wise. There's nothing special you need to take out. Your normal riding gear will work really well. I think what we'll do now is have a look at the bike-specific stuff in terms of lights and setting those up. Let's have a look at the actual lights then that we're going to use. The first night riding I think I did was, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. And I thought, well, I've got a waterproof head torch, Petzl one, and that's what I'm going to use. So I went out and used that. Wasn't really bright enough, didn't really do the job. We ran through a couple of sets of batteries. So really last resort head torch type stuff. And also back then, the cheapest set of mountain bike lights you could get were 150, 250 pounds. So pretty pricey. Now with modern technology, the prices have dropped quite dramatically. We got these off market at mtbbatteries.co.uk, £67 off the web. You can't get better than that. And most of the lights that you buy will come with a couple of mounts, or come with a helmet mount and also a bike mount. Normally the light units detach from the battery by a cord, so you can charge the battery up separately. And again, the batteries used to be kind of water bottle size and weigh about 1.5 kilos. Now they're super small, fairly lightweight. And when you've got them charged up, just connect them together with a waterproof connector. Drop the battery pack into the back of your bag. I found the best place to keep it, in my top pocket, with most of the cable. And then obviously you're connected via the helmet and the bag are together with the light unit. So you've got to work out a little bit of skill, have a practice putting your helmet and your bag on at the same time. But also then if you do have that trail side puncher or chain brake, just remember you can't take your bag off without your helmet. Hence carrying the other head torch is really useful. Just disconnect the helmet and then use the head torch to do the work that you want to do, and then connect it back up again when you go riding. They'll also fit onto piss pot style helmets, skateboard helmets, they'll work. And most of the mounts will have an ability to adjust the light once it's mounted on the helmet nice and securely. And the same when they're on the bars, they've got adjustments on them. Like I said, these are 1 LED units, have different power settings, so switch it on, you've got 1000 lumens straight out, and then a couple of lower settings, so you can conserve battery power. Really important. A lot of people ride around with the lights on full all the time. You don't need that. If you're climbing or cruising, drop it onto the lowest setting you need and conserve your battery power for the downhill or the more technical sections you're using. These lights also have a bit of a strobe just in case you get yourself into trouble, and they work really nicely. So let's look at setting the lights up then. Like we've said, if you've only got one light, then putting it on your helmet is definitely the best place for it. If you do have the luxury of having two, and at 60, 70 pounds a unit, really that's quite achievable now. The light on the bars I'm going to shine about 5-7 metres in front of the bike once it gets dark. That's going to give me some ground relief. It'll show up little shadows with the rollers, show the dips up in the trail and little drops. But the one I'm really interested in is the helmet light. When I'm going downhill or going a little bit faster, cruising along, I'm going to stood up nice and relaxed in that ready position. And I want to adjust this one until it's shining about 10-15 metres down the trail at least, and maybe even 20 metres down the trail. And that one's going to be my focus point of where I'm looking. It's going to open out my upper body. Likewise, when I start cornering and I look through to the exit of the corner, this is the light I'm focusing on. This is where I'm going to look at where the bike's going to travel to. I'm not really interested in the light that's been thrown off by the bars. And quite often the light on the bars is going to get thrown all over the place on the trail as I steer. And actually I'm concentrating on the one on the helmet. So when I'm up nice and relaxed, that light's adjusted there. And once you've adjusted it once, generally most of the mountings are pretty good. It shouldn't rattle off. If you find it's not working, then just adjust it a little bit higher and just watch you don't get caught up, if you have got two lights, into looking down at the trail here, moving your upper body over, putting a lot of weight over the top of the bike, and if you hit things there's a good chance you're going to go over the bars. So opening out your upper body and looking further down the trail is really going to be key. And definitely here in the UK, don't get freaked out if you look into the woods with your helmet light and you see loads of little eyes shining back at you. Normally they're rabbits, sheep or owls most of the time. I think that's it really. And the light's already starting to go, so we'll wait till it gets dark. I think the rain's coming in as well, and we'll get out on the bikes. So here we are, a few hours later. The rain started obviously because we're in Wales. Here's the bike with the handlebar set up. And what we'll do, just before we set off, we'll check the power settings and make sure everything's running okay. So we'll switch it on, it goes straight onto high power. Then we've got mid power, and then the low power that we use for climbing and cruising, and also the strobe effect. Like we said in the intro there, night riding is really good fun. You're going to get more hours out on your bike. It's nice and social, and with the right equipment, you can pretty much get out in any conditions. If you're just starting out and you've never been night riding before and you want to go out and try it out, then pick a nice easy trail, one you know, that's nice and short, maybe an hour and a half, so all you need out at night. And that way, if anything goes wrong, it's not too big a drama. Let's look at those light settings then. Here you see the top light is my helmet light, the one closest is the one on the bars, and if I power down the helmet light, you can see how easy it is to get focus into the ground right in front of the bike. As I'm following these riders up the trail, the light that's actually flicking around left to right is the one that's on my bars, it's not my helmet light. The helmet light's staying fairly focused down the centre of the trail, looking where I want to go, and it's all working quite nicely. Having both lights is really good, but just don't let that handlebar light drag your focus away from where you need to be looking. Here I am on my own, riding down the trail, and again the handlebar light is the brighter one nearest us that's flicking around from left to right, whilst my helmet mount is looking round the corners, looking further down the trail for the features, so I can keep control of the bike and actually be aware of what's coming up next. Really nice. Having two lights is great, but if you've only got one, use the helmet mount. Again, here on the bars, if you have a look at these riders coming down, the bar light is actually helping them with a little bit of ground relief. They can see the humps and bumps that are coming down. You've just got to watch when you're cornering. If you're only running on one light, then you don't get distracted and look where the light's shining as you go around the corner. You still really want to be looking through to the exit of that corner. Here you see these two riders come round. Another thing we tend to do at night is also ride too close to each other. Obviously, as herding animals, as it gets dark and we get a little bit scared, then we tend to ride really close to each other. That's fine while you're climbing and cruising along, but once you start descending, you really need to make sure you space out and don't interfere with the riders in front of you. Here you see Ali, Stu and Pete ride along nicely spaced out on the trail, giving each other plenty of room so they can react to the trail in front of them and not to what the other riders are doing. So there you have it, Campbell Coaching's top tips to night riding. Go out with the proper equipment, invest in a reasonable set of lights, get your mates and increase your riding times over these long dark winter months. Take it nice and progressively, go out on some nice easy trails to start off with before you start tackling tougher or longer rides. And if you live in the UK, remember, there's nothing out there that's going to get you.